Today we're going to look at the new Reolink Argus PT. The PT stands for PanTilt. This is an outdoor wireless camera that does not require power. It has an internal battery, and it also comes with the optional solar power option, which is great for when you're mounting a camera outside and you don't have access to power. The solar panel will automatically recharge the built-in battery. Let's check this one out and see how it performs. The Argus PT camera itself actually comes as a standalone camera. If you want the solar option, you have to actually order a separate solar panel. So this is the solar panel I'm opening up now. By default, the camera itself is a battery-powered camera, which means that you would recharge it from a USB charger, USB source. It's 5 or 9 volts. And on a full charge, the camera itself would typically be good for up to 30 days of recording. And that's when it's set to record from motion detection. But the battery would eventually need to be recharged on it. So you'd have to take the camera down to recharge it in those cases, which is like a lot of the other battery-powered cameras that you would swap a battery or recharge it. Having the solar option eliminates the need to charge the battery because it's going to charge up as soon as sun hits the solar panel. I already have one solar Reolink camera that has been under test now for a couple months, and it's been performing flawless. So now we're going to look at the new PanTilt, which is going to be essentially the same camera that I've already got with the remote PanTilt capabilities. So let's take a look at the camera. In the box, in addition to the instructions, which are in multiple languages, we'll find the camera, antenna, and mounting hardware, as well as a charge cord. Since it's a standard USB charge cord, it can be used for powering the camera. So if you want to power the camera from AC, all you need to do is supply your own 5 to 9 volt standard cell phone type charge cord, and it will power the camera up, which is great if you're going to use a camera indoors. This can be used indoors or outdoors. Indoors, it can just stand on a table just like that, or it can be mounted upside down using the kit. The mounting bracket. Now we're going to look at the solar panel itself, which is going to be a similar solar panel to what I mounted on the other camera. I think this one's just a different color. The other one was black, and this one is white. Again, there's the solar panel. It comes with its own, it's about a 12 or 15 foot cord on there. So the solar panel can be located where it's got direct exposure to the sun. So if the camera, for example, is under an overhang, you can get the solar panel up higher, where you can get a good clear shot of the sky for good power to recharge the camera. On the back, this is the power input, and you just plug your USB cord into there, and it has a boot to cover it up to keep weather out of it if the camera is mounted where it may get wet. So it's important to note that if you want to use solar option with any of the Reolink cameras, you do need to use their specific solar panel. It's designed with the proper charging rate for the built-in battery. The camera does have a built-in battery. It will power the camera up for several weeks without needing to be charged. My other one, I tested it. It went for about 2 weeks before I had to charge it when I wasn't using the solar panel. But with the solar panel on it, it's going to remain charged all the time. So the first thing to do is we're going to put the antenna on. And on the back there is a power button. So you're going to want to mount the camera at an elevation where someone's not going to be able to get at it. I would not recommend mounting any cameras where they're going to be exposed directly to rain, unless they are specifically designed for direct exposure to rain. So something like this, I would mount it under an overhang. Just for safety, just to make sure that you're not going to get the camera wet. It is designed for outdoor use, but saying that, myself, I'll be installing this under an overhang. The other camera that I've got, which has a separate rubber shell over it, it's actually out in the rain, like out fully in the rain. So we'll see what happens with that. This one's going to actually be mounted under an overhang when I put this one up, just because I don't feel like getting the big ladder out today. And it does come with this mount. So the mount can be affixed either to a wall or to a ceiling. So if you're attaching it to a ceiling, it would attach like that. If you're attaching it to a wall, you would attach it like that and set it up so that it's level, obviously, and attach the camera to the bracket. The camera will then attach like this. Attach that to a wall. and that's how the camera is attached. The strength to the cameras like this, the solar powered cameras, is that you don't need to run power to them. All you need to do is place a solar panel where it's going to get a few hours of direct sunlight every day, and that's going to keep the internal battery fully charged. Now these cameras here also, you can put your micro USB card in there. You have to dig up a micro USB card for it as well. With these solar powered cameras, they're not designed for streaming 24 hours a day. So you're not going to be watching a video off of one of these cameras 24 hours a day, because that will consume the battery power. The camera will record automatically when it detects any motion from the built-in PIR, which it has a passive infrared motion detector right here on the front. So when it detects any motion through the PIR, it starts recording automatically and stops recording once motion is stopped. It'll also record on demand, so when you bring up the app or you open up the app on the computer, you can view the video on demand. But it's not designed for viewing video on demand 24 hours a day, because when you're streaming, you're going to be using up battery power. The solar panel will keep the battery charged, but again, it's not designed for 24 streaming. If you're wanting to have something viewing 24 streaming, you're going to want to get a camera that requires AC power. Simple as that. These ones, they're designed for remote mounting where you don't have access to power, and they will charge the battery automatically using the optional solar panel. Now, if you don't have the optional solar panel, you'll have to take the camera down periodically and plug it in to a micro USB port to charge it. So with something like this, I would highly recommend get the solar panel for it, because then you won't have to maintain it. You won't have to charge it, and it'll be good to go. So this is the existing solar camera that I've got. If I tap on the settings here, you'll see that my camera is 100% charged. According to the instructions, if you're going to use the camera, it can be used indoors or outdoors, obviously. If you're going to use the camera indoors, it's okay to set it like that, like on a table, for example. If the camera is going to be used outdoors, it needs to hang upside down like this. And I've already removed the QR code on here so you guys can't see it. But normally there's a QR code on here that you scan on your phone, and that's to aid in setting up your Wi-Fi. But I've removed it from here for obvious reasons, so that I don't have to worry about anybody hacking into the camera. See, the bracket goes on the base, and that's for outdoor use. You're going to hang it. See that either the bracket's going to go this way, or if it's from a ceiling, it's going to hang that way, depending on how you've got to mount the camera. Okay, I've got an SD card. I'm going to pop the SD card into the camera here. Micro SD card goes right here where it says micro SD. That little cover. And pops in just like that. Close up the cover to keep moisture out of it. Okay, I'll turn on the camera by opening up the back here and turning the switch to on. This should initialize the camera.
Camera has been started up. Please run Reolink app, add the camera, and set it up.
So I'm going to run the Reolink app now.
Please run Reolink app, add the camera, and set it up.
Okay, plus. I'm going to hit the plus to add a camera, and I got to scan the QR code on the device, which I've now stuck up somewhere else. So I'll click next, and it's going to ask me what network I'm going to enter it onto. So I just entered my password for my network, and it's gonna, now the next thing it's gonna ask me to do is I'm gonna click scan now. It's gonna create a QR code on my phone, which I'm not gonna show you guys, and we're gonna scan this with put the camera in front of the
scan succeeded. Camera is connecting to your router.
So now the camera is connecting to my router. So now
connection to the router succeeded.
There we go.
Welcome to Reolink.
So next,
connection to the router succeeded. Welcome to Reolink.
And now I have to create a password for the device. So I have to actually create a new one for this device. So let's do that now. Create a password, click next. I'm gonna name my camera Reolink PanTilt. I don't know. Wireless PanTilt. Every camera has its own name, right? Or Solar PT for PanTilt. So now that gives the camera a name. Initializations is now finished. Okay, there's it there. Okay, we got to connect to it first. And this is the camera here. You see, I'll wave my hand in front of it and you'll see it on camera. Now to move this thing around, pan, tilt, zoom, drag the central button to control the pan, tilt, zoom. So where is it? So we just do this. How do we do this? Oh, we just do this. There we go. I'm upside down. Let's go mount the camera and we'll play around with it. Okay, what we're going to do now before I mount this camera is I'm going to set up the SD card because I just put a new one in and it is not formatted yet. So I click the three dots. No, setup. Here we go. It's at 51% now. That's the battery as it came out of the box. PIR motion sensors on, camera recording is on. I do not have push notification turned on, but I could. And we're going to go into the setup here, advanced. Click advanced. Date and time. Date and time. 4:41. Yep, that's the right time. So it's already picked up network time. Infrared lights are auto. I can turn them on or off. I'll turn them off because I don't think I need them. Auto. Let's turn them off. Stay off. There we go. Their cameras have generally been pretty good in low light, so I'm going to try it in low light without having them on. And record audio, status LED is on or off. You can select the little light that comes on the front of the camera when it's recording, for example. It'll turn a blue light on when the camera's on, or you can actually turn that light out if you don't want to see it. And what other features have I got on here? Recording is on. Go to camera recording. It'll record for 8 seconds, and you can change that. So you can record, say, 30 seconds after it detects any movement. And what other we got on here? PIR sensor. The push notifications, if I turn this on, I'll get a notification on my phone every time the motion detector's tripped. So I'm not going to bother with that because the other one already does that. Rotate the screen, that's to flip the screen over. This is where we set up the camera name, the date. You can watermark it if you want, so it'll say Reolink on the screen, or you can turn it off. It'll just show it. If you turn it on, it says Reolink right up here in the screen. And it'll burn that onto the image, so if you don't want to have it watermarked, you can turn it off. The quality, and here's our resolution. So clear is 1080p, and you can either select 1080p or 720. Frame rate, 15, 10, 5, or 2 frames per second. Maximum bit rate, right? This sets the bit rate that it will stream to you on your connection. And for fluent resolution, see, that's the lower resolution. So you should be able to change that. It also only shows 5 frames per second, and it uses a much lower maximum bit rate. So if you're on a limited internet connection, you would select fluent. I don't bother with that. I set it up on the high resolution and leave it there. Anti-flicker is a 60 hertz or 50 hertz day and night auto, or you can have it say for color all the time or black and white all the time. I usually leave them on color all the time. And what's privacy mask? Okay, privacy mask. You can draw a box around the screen where it will not. It will block out a specific area. So right. So for example, if you've got it facing at your house and you don't want it recording what's happening inside a window, you can block out an area of the screen and it'll just blank it out. That's for your own security. For example, if it's facing at your door, for example, and you've got a code that you punch in and you don't want the code being recorded, or if you've got it facing in a room that's got a keypad and you don't want it recording that keypad, you could blank that out. Again, that's more for fixed cameras, because a camera that can be moved, that might kind of defeat the purpose. But they all have that feature on it. And that's under display. So if I go under settings, click on it, and there'll be an option under here. I'm just taking this out of the way so you guys can't see what's on here, but if I click on one that says storage, it'll give me my SD card, and I'm going to format the SD card, and this will delete the files that are on there, because the files that are on there were recorded in a different camera. So now the SD card is now formatted. When we're in the app, if I tap the three dots and I click on immersive, we will see that I have 3 cameras, and it'll show me all 3 cameras at the same time. That's kind of neat with this app. You can add multiple cameras and you can see them all at the same time. So I'm now going to go mount the camera, and we'll mount the solar panel, and we'll play around with it a bit. Okay, as you can see, I've mounted the camera up under my soffit. I've mounted the solar panel also under the eaves, but facing towards the southeast sky, so it's going to get full sun for a couple of hours every day, which should charge the battery. The green light came on as soon as I plugged it in, indicating that it is taking a charge even with this overcast day, overcast light. Today it is adding some charge to the battery. As you can see, the green light is on now, indicating the battery is charging even today when it's not full sun. You can see I've got all 3 cameras right now on the screen. If I tap immersive, I will get them in that mode. So this is my original Reolink. It's a powered camera. This is the first solar camera, which is mounted up on the roof, and this one here is the new one, which is mounted to the front of the house, both solar powered. I'm going to be testing these for a period of time now. As you can see, I've got my ladder up, as I actually took the SD card out of another camera that's under test to put it into this one, so that I can test this camera out. And that's the other one's in my tree still. But as I say, it's not set to record now. To get back to this camera, we'll just tap on the screen here, and that'll bring it up full screen. Again, pan, tilt, zoom, if I want to move the camera around. And it also works, by the way, when you turn your phone to this direction. Landscape, just tap the button and drag your finger. So if I tap my button and drag it up, it'll go up, go down, right, and left, and I can see all the way to my front door. Almost. Close enough. Left. See all the way, you actually see the solar panel. There's the solar panel right there. Yeah, my lawn is turned brown. I don't have to cut it if I don't water it, right? In our hot summer, we have watering restrictions, so I don't draw any fire from the bylaw officer. I just don't water it and let it turn brown, and as soon as the rain comes, which is coming tonight, it'll turn nice and green again. Zoom in on the picture. You can just zoom in like this. I don't even think I have this thing set for HD mode. I've got it set for standard, so let's just change the resolution here. If I tap there and go to 1080p, now I've just started the stream in 1080p mode. I had it in low resolution, so in 1080p you can zoom in on the picture. It's a digital zoom. You can zoom in on the picture actually quite close. It is a digital zoom. It's not an optical zoom like some cameras. So it is a little smaller camera than some of them, but it does the job. It records in 1080p, and I look forward to seeing what some of the pictures look like tonight once it gets dark. To playback recordings, tap the playback button, and recordings that have been made already will show up. So if I tag any of these recordings, let's see here, probably some stuff from 506. That's when I was playing around with the camera. It was when I was still mounting it. 510. So all the times are logged. That was me moving the camera. So it actually stores some recordings from before the movement starts. And each clip plays in sequence when you're playing back your clips. Everything that trips, that was me playing around with it there. So I wasn't actually detecting any movement at that point. It was just me testing it out. But when it does detect motion, it will record it. Just like if I go to the other camera, for example, if I go to, which one is it here? Let's go back to live view. If I go to this camera, for example, works exactly the same. It has an infrared sensor, passive infrared. If I go to playback, it'll have all of my recordings. So like even at 5 o'clock this morning, probably the newspaper guy delivering the paper. Yep, it's a newspaper guy. A newspaper guy here delivers a paper in a car. He just pulls up and throws it and leaves. That's the type of quality that the other camera records in a low light. I fully expect that this one will record just as good a picture in the dark. We'll find out tonight. So we're looking at the Reolink solar PanTilt camera. It's now dark. As you can see, there's a little bit of light from some lights on in my front yard. And the camera sees very well just with the ambient light. There's just a couple of lights on over my door and one on out the street. They're small 4-watt LED lights. So even without the night vision on, it looks good. If I pan around, to where there's pretty much no light at all, I can still see in full color what's going on in my front yard. Now there's no lights over here other than that light that's at the front at the street, which is 25 odd feet away. That's the only light. It is quite dark out there at this time, and the camera sensitivity is actually very good without using the internal LEDs. I'm not a fan of infrared because what happens is spiders build webs over the cameras and then all you see is the spider webs glowing. So I like the natural light. It gives you a better picture in the dark. The only lights that you can see are over top of the door, and there's one out of the street. If I turn the camera all the way around here, even looking at the house where there's no light, there's still plenty of light for the camera to operate. With the pan tilt, I can turn it around, I can take it all the way down, I can look straight down basically with it. And actually up the other way. There's our limit there for going down. And then going up. There's the limit for going up. We'll turn on the night vision on here. This one here. Day and night. So if I set it for auto, it should switch. It might switch to black and white. There might be enough light there so that it doesn't. It stays in color. Looks like it's going to stay in color. Because if I take it and just put it in black and white, now I've switched it to night vision mode. But there's actually enough light out there in my driveway that the camera stays in color. And if I hit picture in picture, now it brings up the picture I can monitor while I'm doing other stuff on my phone. While I'm doing email or while I'm doing other things on my phone, I can have the picture running in the background. That'll bring it up full screen. It gives you an idea quality wise compared to the older Reolink. This is the older one. They're all set for color. They're in the same lighting conditions, and as you can see, the two newer cameras, the two solar cameras, the one that mounted on my roof and the one I just put up today, both have a much brighter picture. So excellent camera. Link to this one is in the description. There's all three Reolinks. They are my favorite of the Wi-Fi cameras that I've tried so far. These ones here have the easiest interface for playing back your recordings stored on an SD card. They perform very well in low light, and the beauty of, and now if you're asking my opinion, what's better, a hardwired camera or a solar camera, like a powered camera or a solar camera? Well, a powered camera, you can watch the thing day and night. You can log in on your computer and you can watch the thing constantly because it's powered. The solar powered cameras are more for in situations where you don't have power, so you don't have an option of getting power to it, or don't have an option of getting power to it easily. So they're a good option for unattended operation where there is no power, or up in areas where you can't easily get power. The solar panel will charge the camera battery, and the camera will make its recordings based on motion detection, but they are not ones that are designed for constant monitoring, as it will run the battery down. And they will time out after a while. If I put this on my computer and monitor it, it'll time out after, I think, about 10 minutes. It'll disconnect, and then I got to reconnect it again, because the solar cameras are not designed for continual watching. They're designed to bring them up on demand, like when you get a notification, or for reviewing recordings that are made on the SD card. And of course, if you've got a cloud account, it will record in the cloud for you in the background. But picture quality wise, they are fantastic. I mean, bring this up full screen. There's the new one there, and I don't even have it in HD mode. I've got it in standard mode. So if I click here and go to 1080p, it'll kick this up into full resolution. So there's the solar pan tilt. Here's the other one. So I've had the solar pan tilt camera has been operating for several hours now. If I go to playback, it'll give me a list, as you can see, of all of the events that have happened tonight. So if I pick an event, say we'll pick an event at 6:45, and that's me walking around out front. And once this event ends, I think I set it to record for 30 seconds, so it'll record each time it's triggered. It'll record for 30 seconds. That was me. Oh, you know what I'm doing here? I'm putting up the other camera. I'm putting up the other camera that I did a review on. So I can zoom in. Can zoom in on the playback as well. Temporary install. That's for the other camera I reviewed. I won't say the name on it on this video, but I had two of them arrive the same day. So I stuck one up on one side of the door and I stuck one up on the other. So that's the other one there. And then see, it went to another file because it stopped recording, so now it started recording again. And that's how the motion detection on this works. It'll record when it detects motion. It'll record for however long you've told it to record for, 8 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever you've told it to record for. After it detects motion, it'll record the clip, and then if there's any more motion, it'll start a new clip. And then what the camera does after the clip is done is the camera actually shuts off and goes to sleep. So unless you actually call the camera up by either calling it up with the app or on your computer, you can view these ones on your computer as well, or if there's motion detected, it'll start up and start recording. This is how they save the battery. It's only going to record when it detects that there's something that's moved, that's set off the motion detector. Here I'm moving the camera. That's what set it off, is when I started moving the camera. The solar powered cameras don't use motion detection that's based on movement on the video like other cameras do. It actually has a passive infrared, just like a security system. So when it actually detects the heat signature of movement, it then starts recording. And the reason they do this is because a PIR requires much less power to operate than a video-based. But most of the cameras that are plugged in use a video-based trigger. So you'll set up a guarded area, and it will automatically record if there's any movement that happens in that area. These ones here don't do that. These ones here are just based on detecting motion, and if they detect motion anywhere in the anywhere in the image, it starts recording. So that's the big difference. And that was this was triggered when I started moving the camera. So in other words, if you load up the camera and don't move it, if you're just viewing the camera on your phone, it's not necessarily recording on the camera what you are viewing unless the motion detector is triggered. On a fixed camera, you could be watching it, but nothing's being recorded unless you actually hit record on your screen here and then start recording. But on the pan-tilt camera, if I move the camera at all, that's going to trigger motion. There's somebody walking up the street there, you can see them. So that's a quick look at the Argus PanTilt camera with solar option by Reolink. Link to this camera is in the description. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one real soon. Bye for now.